Desean Jackson, Jeff
You talking
Teague,
about the Baltimore Raven great, Desean Jackson?
Jeff Teague. Two names, right? Those are two names that you know.
Two names, yeah.
Those are two athletes that you know about.
Nah, yeah, I listen to I see some Teague clips sometimes.
Oh, the
I fuck
520,
with it.
the 520 Club. It's a good podcast. It's an entertaining podcast. But with that being said, I guess Deshaun was on a podcast with Lou Will,
Mm.
and he made a comment along the lines of, "Should I pull up the quote? I should just pull up the
Sure.
quote. Should I just pull up the quote?"
The
So
last thing we want to
essentially,
do is misquote Desean Jackson, and I have to
yeah,
say it like that now.
why? Because of Brandon.
Yes, Desean Jackson.
So they were talking about, I don't know what the context was, but they were discussing, um, you know, I guess maybe,
Basketball.
there's those conversations of, I'd bust his ass, or I would do this, or I'd do that, or if you put me on the court, or if you put me on the field, or whatever. So okay, here we go.
Did they throw a stray at Teague?
Let's see what Deshaun said.
Jeff Teague can stop me 5 times out of 5, nigga, in one-on-ones, and I'm the receiver, and he got to be the DB. You're crazy. But I could go on the court right now, and I'm at least going to score a bucket or two on good, for sure. I disagree. It's different being in the water with that shark, seeing him on Discovery Channel. what's your shit with Jeff? Like, Jeff, he cool, but I see him play too much. I'm like, Jeff doing that, bro. I could play in the NBA. How did Jeff Teague is your example? Yeah. Jeff Teague will bust your ass. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if he could do that, being him, I know I could go be in the NBA. No. If you feel like you could be in the NBA, cool. But I can't let you sit here and say, I feel like I could be in the NBA because Jeff Teague in the NBA. Hell no. Peyton Pritchard.
That's wild.
Eat your lunch, DJ. He's a 5'8" white boy.
Okay, I knew there was more to it. I'm glad I played the rest of the clip.
I was about to say, like, that initial, yes, Desean Jackson could score a bucket or two. To come out and say, yo, I can go, because Jeff Teague is in the league, I can go play in the league, is nuts.
Bro, I can't even say he could get a bucket or two.
No, he can probably get a bucket.
Okay, but okay.
If you throw up a three, you can fucking get lucky.
That's what you're saying. You're saying if they can scheme up a way to get Desean Jackson open at the three, maybe he cashes out.
No, I thought this was one-on-one.
No. Because he said I can play in the NBA. He said if Jeff Teague can do what he did in the NBA, I can play in the NBA. So it went from I can get a bucket or two to, oh, well, if Jeff Teague can do that, I can be in the NBA. Now, my thing is, it's like, all right, whatever. If you want to compare NFL to NBA or this to that, or call us stupid because we think LeBron's a better athlete than Noah Lyles, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
No matter like how, I don't know, successful, or because let's be real, the NBA, it's very there's a lot, like, I feel like at the end of the day, there's a lot more to where people put certain players than just like what they do on the court.
Of course.
Now obviously you got like your certain X factors, but it'll literally take teams to get to, let's say, the finals for people to be like, Drew Holiday is really,
yeah, exactly,
is really, or
Drew Holiday is a great defender.
Derek White is fucking.
Yeah, if Drew Holiday wasn't making finals, he would be P-Bev.
No, I'm not. No, stop.
No,
he wouldn't be.
He'd be in Israel right
See,
now.
because now you're starting to turn to Desean Jackson, because honestly,
he would be talked about like P-Bev. Oh, he's a good defender.
And it's funny that Desean Jackson didn't like aim like that type of shit towards like Patrick Bev.
I don't know why he's aiming it at Jeff Teague. That's nuts.
Well, Jeff Teague. My whole point is, it's like, no matter where you were on the depth chart in the NBA, like you're an absolute bucket.
You're a hooper.
You're an absolute.
But the NBA is
bucket.
different from the NFL, where it's like you can get away with being just a great athlete in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think in the NBA it's a little different than just being an athlete. this or
It's
that.
just you have to see the thing. I don't know. I'm trying to
I don't
figure
want to
out.
shit on NFL players, but
I don't want to offend either side, so
no.
I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. But my thing is more in the NBA. It's 5-on-5. You have to be very, very good at a very specific thing,
Yeah.
1 through 5. You know, and it's like, okay, if you are a corner, some corners, look at someone like Richard Sherman, and then
Yeah.
look at someone like, okay, Nate Wiggins. Those
Mhm.
are two completely different corners.
Yeah.
Those are two corners that play two completely different styles of defense.
Yeah.
Those are two different corners that you're going to scheme two different. You're going to have two different defensive schemes depending on which corner you're going to have on your team.
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes down to basketball, it's like if you're a shooting guard, like no, you're gonna have like every shooting guard. It comes down to being who is the best at doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and then from 1 to 5, it's like there's not much difference between Joel and Jokic when you really, really look at it. It's just who's better at the top 2 or 3 things that they are very good at when you compare that.
Yeah.
So when you have an outlier like a Steph Curry or a Dame Lillard who can just shoot out the fucking gym, and you're Desean Jackson who might not know much about the NBA, you might think Jeff Teague is a bum.
Yeah, exactly.
But Jeff Teague, like,
I mean, the thing about
there's a threshold.
Yeah, but with like NBA players, like you'll see an NBA player practice, and he won't miss a shot for an hour or 2 hours, and then they go on the court and they shoot whatever percentage or whatever. But these guys are the best of the best. They're trained to do this specific thing. Just to go out and take an athlete because he's athletic, throw him in the league. Like Myles Garrett can dunk, but he's playing in celebrity games. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
he could maybe go out and score a bucket or two, but
I mean, besides the quarterback position in the NFL, and I guess kicker, if you want to throw that in there, precision is not the biggest deal.
no.
And being like, I don't know, damn near perfect is not the biggest deal. You have 10 other guys. You're on the defense. You have 10 other guys to rely on. But listen though, if you're on the defense,
If I was Desean Jackson, I mean, I don't know who made more money in their career, but NBA players make a lot of money. If he could have done it, I don't know why he wouldn't have just gone and played in the NBA. I mean, he's going to talk about it and say, yo, I could put up this in the NBA. It's like, because Teague can do it. It's like, no, Teague did it.
Well,
Teague's not sitting here saying, yo, I'm going to guard Desean.
Well, you could probably ask Desean Jackson if he thought he belonged in the Hall of Fame, and he'd say yeah. So I mean, if he thinks he's that caliber of an NFL player, he's just saying he's at least a Jeff Teague caliber NFL player. But it's just he does not understand how like good Jeff Teague really is whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Like it's
I mean,
like,
to be a starter in the NBA.
The NBA, dude, to come off the fucking bench in the NBA,
To come off the bench, yeah, great.
Devan, to be in the G League, you have to be amazing at basketball. There are so many motherfuckers out there. Shit, because that's the other thing. It really shows like online. You have so many hoopers online that are like actually really, really good and are absolute buckets and are super athletic. And you might sit there and think like, why are they not like what?
There's like fucking 300 people in the NBA.
Why are they not in the league? And then most of them would be like, oh, because I have absolutely no chance.
Exactly.
There's no way. Like, yeah,
like,
no, I'm nice.
Zero shot.
It's like I have zero. There's absolutely no chance I'll make it to the NBA. There's not
many. I mean, you watch college. I mean, it's the same thing with the NFL. It's like, no, you watch college and it's like 95% of these dudes, 99% of these dudes are not going to make the league. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the NBA, and even more so. I mean, there's fucking maybe 10 dudes who pan out every draft.
But it's so much more easier to pick up a basketball and get really good at basketball. there are just like I'm saying at this time, you could have a random 25-year-old guy that works at an office job, but he might really be like a fucking bucket, like
Mhm.
just on a blacktop or whatever and shit. And you got you got content creators with millions of subscribers, that are truly a bucket. But it's like
Mhm.
at the end of the day, like you said, there's 300 people at a time
Exactly.
who are the top level.
And a lot of it doesn't even come down to like skill. It's like, no, bro's 6'9". I'm 6'2". Like, there's a difference.
And it's the same thing for the NFL, but
Of course.
because there's so many different positions. There's so many things that you could just there's so many different positions where you could be good at just a couple things and not have to worry about anything else.
Like,
So it's
when
like,
you
yeah,
think about
Jeff.
it, like all of like the offensive linemen
Mhm.
or just D linemen or anybody, like all these dudes were just tall, heavier set dudes in high school
Mhm.
who weren't really athletic.
I wouldn't say that.
Like they weren't like freak athletes.
When you
They
say D
weren't.
lineman, you're talking like interior.
No, I'm talking like O linemen more so.
Okay. Well, okay. You said D. You said D line too. So
I'm
okay.
more O linemen. D
Okay.
linemen are a different story. But you can take these dudes who are 6'5", 6'7", and you train them to do certain things and to put on weight and to do this. They'll go out and do it. Like, it's not like it's a fucking superstar who his entire life trained to play basketball,
Yeah.
goes plays high school as a dog, and then still isn't good enough to go play in the league.
Mhm.
I don't know. To me, it's both are hard. But no, if Desean could have gone and played in the NBA, I think he should have because Jeff Teague made more money than him. So
Well, and Desean Jackson wasn't going to be in the NBA.
no,
He couldn't
but
be in the
he doesn't
NBA.
need to be
He
because he
doesn't
played
need
in
to
the
say that.
NFL and he did well
But
there.
Jeff Teague responded,
Good. He
um,
probably laughed.
and kind of added some context to it because he knows Jeff Teague. Desean Jackson knows Jeff Teague. They know each other. He said
Okay.
about 15 years ago, I guess they were in a club or whatever, or Jeff Teague wasn't there, but some guy was people were gassing up Desean Jackson, like saying Desean said like he would bust, like he was nice at basketball, and then they said, we got a guy that you should play then if you think you're nice, and he was like, I'll bust his ass, and they were
Bro, out of
talking
Wake
about
Forest.
Jeff Teague, and Jeff Teague was like, yeah, they were calling me like, bro, we got the easiest 50K for you to make, yada yada yada, and he's like, yeah, and I just hear him in the background talking hella shit, and then like by the time I like get ready to, I'm like, all right, like, okay. They're like, nah, never mind. He ain't about it. He ain't blah, 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 blah. And he said it went from I will beat you 1-on-1 to I could get a bucket on you.
That's a completely different story.
Which on Lou Will's podcast, it went from I could get a bucket on him to shit,
I
I
can
could be
play
in
an
the
NBA game.
NBA. So honestly, I guess it just depends on where Desean Jackson's confidence level is at the time.
Sure.
Like it's like where it is. And then I guess Jeff Teague said at one point, he said he was like, man, let's do it for content. Let's make
Charity.
content out of it.
Yeah.
And Jeff Teague was like, fuck content. I don't care. I
I'm
don't
trying to lock you down,
fuck
bro.
that. I don't